Hey everybody, welcome back to T News Live at the Aviation Festival, presented by JetBlue Technology Ventures and sponsored by Travel Air. My name is Martin Can, I'm Editorial Director for T News. Amy Burr, who's the Managing Director of Partnerships for JetBlue Technology Ventures, is helping me out with this interview. We're going to be talking to Shahar Markovitch, who's the Chief Digital and Information Officer for El Al Airways. So,
how are you?
Amy, over to you.
All right, great. Well, so I think the first thing, nice easy question, is tell us about your role.
All right.
And what you're responsible for.
Absolutely. So I'm the Chief Digital and Innovation Officer for El Al.
Okay.
I joined the airline 6 months ago.
Oh.
Where El Al has made a decision to double down on technology and digital as obviously a key lever for growth.
Sure.
And we've combined our IT division with our digital function.
Okay.
And created a new division which is digital and information technology.
Okay.
I joined the airline to lead.
Okay.
I came from Bank Hapoalim, which is Israel's largest bank,
Okay.
where I was the Chief Digital Officer.
Okay.
And previously I've been a partner in McKinsey & Company, responsible for digital transformations in many different companies across different sectors.
Wow, so you have a very deep background in digital.
Absolutely.
How's it been 6 months in an airline? It's a different industry, right?
Yes. So I've previously only experienced the airline industry as a passenger.
Of course.
As you can imagine, as a previous consultant, or as a consultant past life, I've flown quite a lot.
Yes.
But I can say it's been quite a ride in the last couple of months.
Oh yeah.
Very exciting industry, very different than banking. The whole notion of travel experience and the experience economy and travel as a way to change your life and see the world. So there's the aspiration for this industry is much higher.
Yes.
And people are much more emotional about travel, the good and the bad. And the complexity of running an airline, which as a passenger you're never aware of.
Never know,
just
yeah.
what it takes to get a plane out there in terms of personnel and fuel and operations and maintenance.
It's much more complicated than people realize.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I've been learning quite a lot in a very, very rapid pace.
Yes.
So it's quite exciting.
So talk to me a little bit about how innovation plays a role in your day-to-day world, and what are you looking at that's new and different and trying to change kind of the customer experience for El Al's customers within your area?
Yeah, so we're putting a lot of focus on customer experience.
Okay.
It's one of the main strategic focuses for the company. And obviously digital plays a key role in that.
Sure.
So looking at the entire customer journey, from the time they dream about travel all the way to when they come back and share their experience with friends and family. And digital plays a key role in that, in connecting both the experience across the entire journey, but as well creating a better physical journey.
Yes.
And we're just started a major transformation around the customer experience.
Okay.
And how we can help the customer get more out of both their flight and around the entire set of travel. And to do that, or the entire travel journey. And to do that, we're looking to partner with many different startups in Israel. So as you know, Israel is one of the world's largest startup hubs.
Yes.
Probably have the most startups per capita.
Yeah.
And in El Al, we have launched basically an accelerator, which we call Cockpit Innovation.
Yeah. I was wondering how you work with Cockpit and how that interacts with you on a day-to-day basis.
So I'm on the board of Cockpit.
Oh, great.
So I can see their deal flow, guide provide guidance around here are the priorities that we see in the airline. And Cockpit is, in essence, Cockpit is a platform to connect between startups and travel companies.
Yeah.
So Cockpit basically brings us with the deal flow with startups that have went through some sort of due diligence, and they can already tell us, this startup is interesting and it probably solves one of your problems. And then our role is to actually bring it and connect it within our technology platforms. Yeah. And specifically for the customer experience, we're starting to integrate core technologies in areas where we think we can either delight the customer or address an anxiety around the journey.
Yes.
As well as areas where we think we can help us grow as an airline.
Sure.
So for example, one of the recent startups we integrated into our digital platform is a startup that allows you to bid for your flight. So we identified that many of our customers kind of have a budget,
Sure.
and they're trying to design their trip for a budget. So that startup basically connects directly with our inventory, with our revenue management inventory, and runs a number of algorithms and rule set to basically match the customer's budget with the appropriate flights.
That's
so
fantastic.
that's one example.
Just leap in, because
Yeah.
that's quite interesting. I mean, there are there are quite a few startups that are operating the sort of bidding on an upgrade, but this is bidding on
This
the
is
actual...
something a little
Yes.
bit more
on the actual flight.
Yeah, that's
And
fantastic.
I think the key innovation there is the direct connection into the RM systems and into our RM analysts. So our specific RM analysts can actually influence the system and provide specific rules which flights are actually going to flow into that system.
Okay.
So
Okay.
do you
interesting.
allocate X number of seats per flight for the bidding? I'm just wondering how that...
Yes,
how
it's
that pans
per,
out.
per the RM consideration. So it's
Okay.
up for them to decide whether they want to allocate specific seats, whether they want to create rules around load factor of the planes.
Okay.
They can create rules around yield, and the system automatically brings the flight into the relevant bit.
Is that sort of integrating, or has that been integrated? Is it live?
Integrated.
Okay, so
So,
it's live. So
Yeah, it's live. We're seeing tens of thousands of customers use it, every day, and we're continuing to expand it. So that's been quite exciting.
That's great. That's very interesting. Very interesting use of something kind of really new and
Yes.
innovative in the industry. So I'm with JetBlue Technology Ventures, which
Yes.
means I have a relationship with
Exactly.
JetBlue that like you have with Cockpit. So it's
Exactly.
very interesting to hear how that works. So how is that actual process? We find at times it's difficult to find space within the the resource constraints and the prioritization within the main airline for some of the new technologies. Are you finding that you can get into a rhythm where you can actually implement some of them, or at least do proof of concepts, or is that more challenging?
So one of that's a challenge for everyone. By the way,
Sure.
it's not a challenge just for airline; it's a challenge for every company.
Well, it's actually true.
It was a challenge in the bank, and it was a challenge when I worked with the public sector and high-tech companies.
Yeah.
I think one of the key things that I'm focused on is not only bringing innovation and creating digital channels and connecting with startups.
Yeah.
It's also about looking at the actual machine that builds all that,
Yeah.
and figure out how we can create this machine more agile, more open, create more capacity. So right now, and challenging the organization itself to be able to absorb more and more of those startups.
Sure.
So right now, every startup required a lot of focus and a sponsor to push it through, the business process, the commercial process, the
course,
technology
yes.
integration. But we're starting to put in place a few major changes in how we work that will allow us to expand our capacity to integrate those startups into the system. For example, thinking about what we can do with open APIs and APIs to aid the integration.
Yeah.
Or creating standard model for our commercial process and our business process, working together with the strategy arm of El Al and Cockpit to allow us to make the business decision faster. Because as you know very well, many times the fact that it slows things down is not IT, but actually making the business decisions, getting the budget,
right, it
etc.
can take as long to get through that as it does
Yes.
to actually implement something.
Exactly. Exactly.
So out of all of the interesting things that everybody's talking about, and obviously we're here at a conference that everybody's talking about some new emerging technologies that are going to change the industry, like what's your favorite? What do you think is going to be the next thing that transforms the customer experience or other parts of LL?
So, I'm an ex-consultant, so I always start with, I don't know if it's the right word, too big of a word, strategy, right?
Yes.
But it's trying to figure out, where the industry is going, where we're going as an airline, how we're going to create competitive advantages, and what's the value. I'm a very practical guy, so I'm very allergic to, innovation theater or just buzzword innovation. So we've actually looked at the airline industry, and at least from my perspective, if you think there was a huge disruption in the airline industry, that's basically the combination of deregulation with open skies, with obviously the LCC, the low-cost models have been there for years, combined with the new customers becoming much more digital, right? And then as you become digital, you're much more focused on cost and prices, because that's what you see when you search, the meta search in Google.
Yeah.
So that's been one long disruption that basically driving, let's call it prices and margins significantly down. And we're looking at what factors, would allow an airline to win in the marketplace, continue to be, profitable and grow going forward. And obviously the answer is, as you hear across this conference, it focuses a lot around, data and analytics and figuring out, if the prices itself, if the margin of the flight itself is going to get down, what can you offer the customer beyond and around the flight that provides them actually extra value, but allows you to, make your money elsewhere.
Yeah.
So we're doubling down on data analytics. All the buzzwords that you want around that, machine learning, deep learning, AI.
Yes, all the really easy stuff to implement.
Exactly. We just hired a new chief data officer.
Oh, great.
That actually also came from the media industry.
Okay.
And we're thinking about, again, creating creative connections that allow us to go beyond our scale, because we're not a massive airline.
Right.
We only have around 44 planes, so we're not one of the big airlines. So we always have to think creatively how we can punch above our weight.
Yes.
So in Poalim, for example, we've led a partnership with one of Israel's leading university, the Technion, which again is something we want to do with Elal to get talented data scientists to look at our data through partnership and kind of help them share real world data to supply for their research. We're leveraging the Israeli ecosystem around AI and machine learning.
That's great.
So there's a lot of stuff we're doing on that direction.
This is definitely an area of the industry that is ready and right at the cusp of innovation that will really change the way we all do business.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's fantastic. So I think we're getting close to out of time.
All right.
Martin, anything you wanted to add?
No,
or?
I just quite like everyone just sort of assumes that disruption was an early 21st century concept, but I like the idea of sort of like the deregulation of the GDSs and open skies was actually probably disruption. And I was just thinking, well, actually probably, the low-cost carriers in Europe was probably the most disruptive part of the aviation industry, and we can talk about the maybe some of your university friends could do a thesis about the history of disruption in the aviation sector.
Yes.
So
definitely the disruption has is just come in waves throughout the industry and different things for different times, but
and
it's always been interesting.
Scales of disruption are,
if you think about disruption as something, so the idea of the disruption was probably coined by Professor Clay Christensen from Harvard University. He wrote the book The Innovator Dilemma, where he said there's incremental innovation where you keep improving your product versus disruptive innovation, which changes your entire business model. Okay. And obviously the low cost combined with digital, combined with regulation, change the airline business model.
Sure.
And we see there's another change coming with the need to focus beyond the flight, put much more emphasis on creating a deeper and broader relationship with our customers as a way to grow and be successful.
It's definitely going to be an interesting next couple of years as these things mature.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Amy, Shahar, thank you very much for taking the time to join us. We could carry
pleasure.
that on for ages.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
need more references to Harvard professors, I think. So Martin Kahn, editorial director for T News, signing off, but I'll be signing back on shortly. Stay tuned.